What would a strong Iowa victory for Trump mean? How deep into the primaries could his rivals even survive if Trump keeps winning?
Well, I think Iowa's always been kind of this interesting outlier in Republican politics. I mean, remember, this was the same state that gave us Michelle Bachmann as a winner in a previous presidential primary. I think that the real showdown is in New Hampshire, where we're seeing Nikki Haley rise in the polls dramatically. We're seeing more of a coalescing around someone like her as an alternative to Trump. I think ultimately how long this goes and how strong Trump becomes, it really is up to Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, and others who need to wake up and realize there is no chance they are going to be the Republican nominee. And if they really care about having an alternative to Donald Trump, they need to get out right now and get behind Nikki Haley. Otherwise, they are going to repeat the same cycle that we have seen before, that we saw in 2016. They will divide the anti-Trump vote. It's basic math. 4 anti-Trump candidates, 1 Donald Trump. Donald Trump will always win that scenario, Rev.
Sure, Michael, on that note, let's discuss the DeSantis, Ron DeSantis, never back down super PAC, which just lost its key strategist, Jeff Rowe, yesterday. 5 other senior officials have left the PAC in the past month, and DeSantis changed campaign managers back in August. All this churn comes with Iowa caucus less than a month away, and some Republican strategists are warning the non-Trump vote in the primaries is being split between too many candidates, something Kurt just alluded to. Yeah. If DeSantis cannot stabilize his campaign soon, will he face more pressure to get out of the race?
I mean, Rev, the governor of Florida couldn't stabilize his campaign several months ago when they fired a third of their staff. Kurt and I called each other about that when this happened back in August. Kurt, I know you remember that conversation. Rev, look, here's the reality. Yep. Ron DeSantis has been a candidate that struggled ever since he joined this race. He reminds so many of us in this political space that are practitioners on the electoral side of Jeb Bush. As Kurt stated, you had Bachmann, who won Iowa. You had Senator out of Texas, Ted Cruz, who won Iowa. None of those individuals won the Republican nomination. It appears clear that Nikki Haley is a legitimate and viable alternative if you want someone else other than Donald Trump. And that would tell me that if you're a donor, if you're a strategist, and you're advising or supporting the Florida governor, then you would advise the governor, wrap it up, let's look ahead to 2028. But if we are to move the party in a different direction, it's not going to be you. It's not going to be Chris Christie. Nikki Haley appears to have the wind against her sails, moving her forward.
Kurt, switching gears to the internal divisions inside the Democratic Party. Earlier in the show, we heard from the Hispanic caucus chair about their concerns with Biden over immigration. There's also waning enthusiasm among black voters for Biden over a lack of policy progress. And young voters are disappointed with his handling of the Israel-Hamas war. How confident are you that these differences can be smoothed over by the time of the general election next year?
Listen, Rev, if any person of color in this country has issue with the Biden administration, listen, I understand having concerns. I understand being frustrated. But go back and watch what Donald Trump said about immigrants in this country yesterday during his rally. I'm not going to repeat it because basically I'm not going to repeat Nazi propaganda. But go back and watch what Donald Trump says, how often he compares non-white people to drug dealers and rapists. If you are a person of color in this country and you can't draw the distinction between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and that doesn't motivate you to make the right decision in November, I can't help you.
And you too, Michael. What do you have to say on that after chuckling?
I mean, look, Rev, I think Kurt said it well, right? I mean, I think, look, I've been a conservative a long time. Kurt left the party. Rev, you and I have had these conversations many times in private about me trying to push the party in a certain and particular direction as it pertains to meeting the needs and expectations and communicating directly to communities of color. The party has felt for quite some time, and many observers of politics would say at this point the party just frankly doesn't care and is even purposefully turning off many of those potential constituents. And so with that said, I think voters of color will have to ask themselves a very clear question in terms of their needs, their demands. Are they getting them out of one side over the other? And if they aren't necessarily getting them as much as they would like from one side, then you need to demand more. And that means President Biden, Vice President Harris, the Democratic Party writ large, say, hey, we're turning out 90% black community, 70, 80% Latino community, 30% Asian community. There are some things that you guys are failing to meet our expectations on. If you want our vote in substantial margins, then we need to see some movement, some tangibles on some of those key issues.
And many are doing that, but at the same time, what Kurt's saying, the other side is not only appealing to black voters' interests, they're standing up saying some just outright bigoted and racist stuff. So it doesn't give a lot of options if you have this kind of political landscape. Kurt Bardella and Shermichael Singleton, thank you both for being with us. Just ahead